I get to be that person to someone else. I get to do what I love and also get to inspire, so I try to take that opportunity, but that only comes because of the woman before me.
My biggest female role model in my life has been my mom.
First off, it's my mom.
Definitely my mom. Of course, my mom. My mom. She's been literally my rock since I've started gymnastics.
She's always been my biggest supporter.
That woman is strong. She can balance the world.
She has inspired me since I was little to just do what I love.
Just seeing them as strong and independent women has inspired me to be one myself.
Growing up, there were so many gymnasts that I looked up to as a role model.
Gabby Douglas, seeing someone that looked like me definitely encouraged me to be like, oh, I want to do that too.
Simone Biles, honestly, she's a powerhouse and I love watching her.
Just seeing them compete in the Olympics, I've always just wanted to be like them.
I always looked up to college girls when I was little. I loved watching college gymnastics.
I would definitely say Macari. She's my best friend, a role model to everybody.
Trinity Thomas was a huge role model for me. I loved her leadership. I loved her gymnastics.
Everyone on my team too, they push me to get better every day and they challenge me.
I'm here to be an inspiration to my teammates, be an inspiration to the little girls that I used to be.
Celebrating National Girls Women in Sports Day here in Fayetteville. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Kennedy Baker. Kennedy, just so cool to see all the powerful women in this sport talking about who inspired them to get to where they are now.
It's so important to see that. It's powerful, and it means so much to the gymnasts to see that they can get to the same finish line that other athletes are out.
Absolutely. Saw a picture of the first black podium here in the Olympics. Simone Biles, Rebecca Andrade, Jordan Childs. Really, really a powerful image.
This moment was special despite the controversy and drama behind it. It was important for minorities, black gymnasts, but all gymnasts to see this, to see Simone Biles and Rebecca Andrade and Jordan Childs uplifting and supporting each other on the Olympic stage.
Absolutely. This Arkansas fan base trying to uplift their group on the floor in the final rotation when we come back. Sprouts Farmers Market, official healthy grocer of the Southeastern Conference. Kennedy, our guy Corey, getting the place hyped up. Their floor party here in Fayetteville. See Florida leading after the third rotation, heading into this fourth rotation. And on the Arkansas side, we talked about how important potentially getting a 197 would be. They would need a 49.275 to hit 197. They're trying to build momentum here, whether you win or lose the meet. And on the Florida side of things, if you're looking at a potential 198, you would need a 49.625 here in this rotation. So which team can close it out here on the highest note? It'll be Skylar Drazer beginning things on the beam for Florida.
This could be a great last rotation for both teams. Both of their best events, Florida being beam and Arkansas being floor, makes this exciting. They could both put up big numbers here. Great job from Skylar there on her opening acro series. She is consistent in this starter role for Florida. She was in this role a lot last year in her freshman season. Slight stumble there. Her legs were a little too straight when she came into that beam. We've spoken about it earlier. You really want to be bent in your knees to get these landings. Kind of rushed it a little bit.
Both teams ending on events that they've been really strong on throughout the season.
Get that stick though on that dismount. It's important that they hold on to all of these pins. They want a big road score.
There's the Arkansas hype man, Corey Tomlinson. We got to get a pic with him before the meet today.
Corey does a great job of elevating the energy in this arena to get it going for the Arkansas program. And their floor team is pretty special.
Gamio will lead it off.
this pass, one of the highest I've ever seen her do. She gets so much amplitude off of the floor. Similar to what we saw from Anya Pilgrim. She does this 1.5 to double twist. Another difficult pass. Well done. Having fun with her teammates on the side. I love hearing the arena know this part as well. I always have to hype Callista up because she does 3 passes in college. Now there are a lot of 2-pass routines that you're going to see sprinkled throughout the NCAA. I love a challenge of 3 passes. It shows off the endurance and the strength that the athletes have to be able to perform a 3rd tumbling run. Another double flipping pass, this time in a tucked position. Oh, anticipated that landing, came in a little too straight in the legs. Wanted to get that stick, you could tell.
Kennedy, you mentioned the 3rd pass, the pressure to go with that in the leadoff spot as well. How much does that kind of weigh on the mind?
It does weigh on the mind a little bit, and I think that that's one of the reasons they picked Callista to be the leadoff. She opens with such a difficult routine and usually is really consistent on it, so she does a good job of getting that momentum and ball rolling for the rest of the lineup.
On the Florida side for beam, they gave Drazier a 9-8, so now Ellie Lazzari set to step up here for the Gators.
It's nice to see Ellie breaking into this beam lineup. It's hard to get into this beam lineup. They're ranked #1 in the country on beam for a reason. Ellie's gonna open with a difficult triple series here. Oh, and actually that's a change. She used to do 3 acro elements in a row. She switched that to the one-handed back handspring through to the layout step out. That is a challenging series to do. Had that slip off the side. Great job getting back on the beam and finishing. It's hard to bounce back after a tough fall. It's not easy on your body. You feel it when you hit that beam. It's not a forgiving surface. Similar to Maddie Walagora, she wants to finish this up as clean as possible. You never know when you're gonna need that score. You never want to count a fall, but if you have to use it, you want the rest of the routine to be incredibly solid. Good effort from the rest of the routine. It's difficult to get back up after a fall, especially after a crash when you kind of hit the beam. Good job closing out that routine from Ellie. And her front foot was just, I mean, it really wasn't on the beam. You could see those toes were turned in a little bit. You've got to have your foot straight or turned out if you want to stay on the beam.
Each team with a fall today on beam. Now following up the 9.825 for Callista Gamio. Haley Klein will step up on the floor here for Arkansas.
Haley has a fun routine. Very dynamic when she tumbles as well. You're going to see a lot of amplitude from her passes. Opens with this difficult front through to double tuck. One of the best she's ever done. I like that stick. It was so clean coming out of it. You'll hear that clapping in the back. It's nice when you're an athlete to hear the crowd getting involved. It kind of pumps you up, makes it easier for you to carry that energy and momentum throughout the rest of your routine. with this work right here. She wasn't originally in the floor lineup. Another kind of last-minute switch that Arkansas has made, and she delivered incredibly well.
Now, we weren't sure if we would see her. She was TBD, had been out sick, really steady on floor this season, and steady again today.
Really nice to see. Coming back from an illness, the most challenging event is floor. You've got to have a lot of endurance and strength there. Great to see Haley bouncing back.
Following a 9.825 from Ballistic Gamio. We'll see what they end up giving Haley. Don't forget, this is just the first of two on SEC Network. Jordan Bowers and Oklahoma getting warmed up. Faith Torres, speaking of beam, 2024 NCAA beam co-champ. Number 8 Kentucky and number 1 Oklahoma. Barton Trinity standing by to call that one. Meanwhile, Anya Pilgrim waiting to score from Ellie Lazare. You see the current all-around scores at the moment. Anya, one of 3 Gators in the all-arounds.
Anya's such a chill competitor, so poised and relaxed. I always see the coolest photos of her just hanging out, not looking stressed at all. That's the energy that you want following a fall, and it takes someone seasoned in their second year like Anya to keep that on the beam. You saw that dip in the shoulder. Her job right now is to stay on the beam. Get that routine on top so the rest of the lineup can build and like really feel confident starting fresh from Ellie's fall.
Selena Harris Miranda and Leanne Wong, by the way, currently tied for that lead in the all-around. As Kennedy mentioned, that 9.225 from Lazare is the score you'd want to drop.
Good effort to get that stick on the dismount. Florida needed that routine. Nice work there from Anya, getting it back on track for the rest of the lineup. Had this balance check right here. You can see her foot was actually a little bit on the side. Great job correcting it back on top of the beam with her shoulders.
Now Maddie Jones coming up here on the floor for Arkansas.
Maddie has some difficult passes as well. Opens with a front double twist. Great job. That's an E-level tumbling pass in gymnastics. You get a letter ranking on your skills. The deeper in the alphabet you get, the harder the skill is. When you're getting to those D's and those E's, you're really doing difficult gymnastics. Well done from Maddie right there. Beautifully done. I love how she danced right into her choreo, but it was controlled. You can tell that she had precision coming out of it. Another hype moment. She does 3 passes in this routine. Has great endurance throughout. They focus a lot on their strength and conditioning. Assistant coach Chris Brooks really elevating them in that area. Focus on that gymnastics type conditioning. A lot of power there. Nice job keeping it on that front foot. Had so much momentum, fought to keep it in the lunge. This E-level pass is challenging. You've got to feel where you're out in the air. Another thing that Maddie does super well is keeping those legs side by side.
And Arkansas needs a 49.275 in this rotation to hit a 197 team score. They've done that once this season. That was in this building a couple of weeks ago against LSU. Victoria win now coming up on the beam for Florida.
A beautiful beam worker, had a little stumble in that choreography. She takes the challenge of really doing expressive dance on the beam. A difficult, a nodie, that's a back handspring with a half twist through to her back handspring. Just slightly off in the landing there. I liked that one though. You can see how smooth her connection is. Judges need to see that arm swing continuous throughout the series to keep it at value.
She tied for highest score on beam against Arkansas last season.
Great job. You'll notice too from our angle, you could see that dip in the right shoulder. Again, the judges are from the side. They might not necessarily see the same things that we do. In that 5th-year veteran spot, she knows to keep it on top of the beam. Great correction there. And a 1.5 twist, that blind landing to the stick. Great job for Victoria.
See what they give her, trying to follow up Anya Pilgrim's score of 9.6275.
Florida does that skill, the Anodi, incredibly well. We've done that throughout our beam lineups for a long time. And again, great dismount. Really big attention to get that stick. Nice job from Victoria there.
Now Maddie Wallagora trying to follow up Maddie Jones's 9.875 on the floor here.
We haven't seen Maddie as much in this floor lineup spot. Excited to see her gymnastics tonight. Similar to Maddie Jones, she opens with a difficult front double twist. Big high in amplitude in the air. That is so hard. She does a front layout into it. She's got to be powerful enough in the first skill to get that flight and distance on the second one. Really great job on her leaps. They have put so much attention on their leaps. They take their leaps as seriously as they do their tumbling. I like that about head coach Jordan Weaver. You can see the crowd in the back clapping her up for that last pass here. So well done. Really great bounce back from beam for Maddie, and great job in this floor lineup role as well.
A transfer from Alabama showing out there. We mentioned Arkansas hoping to hit that 197 mark. They would need 2 out of those 3 final scores to be 9.875s or better to hit 197. So we'll see if they can get it. Good start there. See what they end up giving Maddie. The attendance tonight here at Bud Walton Arena, 7,341. A great crowd, great atmosphere again here in Fayetteville. Super fun calling this meet. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Kennedy Baker. First of our doubleheader here on SEC Network. See what Leanne Wong has done so far today. Last time we checked in on the all-arounds, she and Selena Harris-Miranda were tied in that lead. One of 2 of 3 all-arounders for Florida today. Anya Pilgrim, the other, standing next to her head coach Jenny Rowland there.
And we kind of talked about this earlier, Jason, about Leanne finding her rhythm. I think she's found it at this meet. You're seeing those big numbers there. That is the competitor that we know in Leanne. Closing it out on this beam routine. She can put up another big score here. This is the event that she's kind of struggled with the most. You'll notice there's a change in her mount. She used to open with a switch leap on top of the beam. Couldn't really find it on top throughout the beginning of the season. She switched it around, having much better results there with that switch.
By the way, over on the floor, they just dropped in that now highest score so far for Arkansas of 9.925 for Maddie Wallagora. So big for Arkansas there. Currently still awaiting the Victoria win score that preceded this pending beam routine for Leanne Wong, and now it's in 9.750. So here we go with Leanne.
Leanne is a beautiful beam worker. You're gonna see a lot of extension on her dance and acro elements. Nice save there. She needs that connection though. If you see the scores a little bit lower and a great routine, it's because those judges are taking deductions for the missed connections or slightly slow connections. We'll see what they decide to do with that. There was that dip in that shoulder. Wrapping it up with this new dismount for her. Gainer full off the end of the beam, just a small shuffle to the front. And this is going to impact her score the most. You'll see that front aerial, she dipped in the shoulder. Those elbows are a little bent. The judges need to see a smooth, continuous arm swing, or they're going to take 1 to 3 tenths in deduction there.
Now Jocelyn Robertson coming up on the floor following the 9.925 from Maddie Walagora.
Jocelyn has such a fun routine and then backs it up with huge tumbling, opening with his double layout. That was gigantic. That's the biggest one I've ever seen her do in college. I like to see her do that in front of this home crowd. Another area I want to pay attention to in Jocelyn's routine is her leaps. We've talked about the attention, the detail that head coach Jordan Weaver has put on their leaps. Their leaps need to say, wow. She missed that last week. Great job and better effort this week. I love the flight and the height that she gets in the air. They're some of the best leaps that are done in the country. Beautiful and challenging front layout. Step out through the double tuck. Anticipated that landing. She was coming in hot. I know she wanted to get that stick. Legs were a little too straight. Didn't really get it. But very well done throughout the rest of the routine. Great job on that opening tumbling pass.
I know you feel like Jocelyn and Frankie Price, to follow her, both have the best leaps in the country. But we're going to look at that here in this replay, and it's a heck of a tandem to cap off this lineup.
For sure. Look at that height on that double layout. Probably, or one of the highest in the country. And again, following it up with huge leaps. I love that you can see those feet clearly all the way around. You'll see she tried to spot and get this. She was able to dig her toes in and get the stick last week against Oklahoma. Just anticipated it a little too early today.
She told us it's like a script, being able to be coached by Jordan Weaver, the gymnast she grew up loving, watching her routines constantly. Told us if she could go back and talk to that little girl who had the dream, she would tell her, I'm so proud of you for all the hard work that you've done to get here. Been training 34 hours a week the last 2 years. Mentioned dad, mom, brother, grandpa here today.
And that's such a balance, Jason. Jocelyn does an extremely, incredibly good job of balancing elite gymnastics with college gymnastics. They're different skills. There's different intention. She still has national team obligations. Every month she's got to do what's called a verification, where you show off your skills on each event. She's got to zoom into it.
There is a judges conference right now taking place on beam. We're still awaiting the Leanne Wong score before Selena Harris Miranda can go. So Selena waiting right now, the smile on her face, chatting it up with her head coach Jenny Rowland.
We brushed on it. They're debating that front aerial through the split jump that Leanne did, if it changes her start value or not. But there's also a reason that Selena is in the 6th spot. She feels comfortable here. Ginny knows that she's going to get a hit out of her.
You see the accolades at UCLA. Entered the transfer portal. They quickly had email exchanges between the coaching staff, then took a visit to Gainesville. Loved everything about it. Was a perfect fit for both sides, and her transition has been super seamless, and now she can step up onto the beat.
Opens with a difficult triple series here. Back handspring, layout, back handspring. Has to be straight on all 3 elements to keep it on top of the beam. Oh, and an unfortunate and uncharacteristic fall for Selena. I actually saw her struggle with that in the touch a little bit. She was off to the other side, so I know she overcorrected it in the competition and unfortunately had that fall. Another note that Selena is challenged with this season is competition in the SEC. She's coming from UCLA. We spoke about it with head coach Denny Rowland. It's a different pressure here. It is. It's more intense competition. It's some of the reason why gymnasts pick an SEC school is that added challenge of the big crowds, but it's the big crowds getting used to being adjusted to that for Selena as well. Fought for that dismount. Every 10th matters. I like to see the fight throughout the rest of her routine. They're going to have to count a fall, either hers or Ellie's, so every single 10th matters. And you could just see that back foot was so crooked. She really tried to save it. That's not typical from Selena. Hopefully she can bounce back at the next one.
Like you said, Florida going to have to count a fall there, so stepping up, Frankie Price in a big anchor roll on the floor after a 9.875 for Jocelyn Robertson. Talk about the leaps. They're big here again.
This routine is awesome, Jason. Powerful opening, double layout here. So much height and momentum, had that shuffle out of it. This routine is so fun though. The height on her leaps, some of the highest in the country. One of my favorite things that Frankie Price, along with her teammate Leah Smith, do is they put up the fist in their routine. You're going to see Leah do it on the side with her when she closes it out. Beautiful last tumbling pass here, so clean. And ending with that fist of solidarity. We love to see it. Such a great performance from Frankie, and she has just elevated her competition level every single year. Beautiful height on this double layout. I love her form throughout, just had so much juice, had that small shuffle to the back. These leaps are so impressive. I cannot say that enough. She's reaching height that nobody else is doing in the NCAA, and again, clean to close it out on that front layout front roll.
So, a couple of weeks ago, Arkansas beat number 2 LSU in this building. They didn't know, as Jocelyn Robertson told us, until the final floor routine. It came down to that. It's coming down to it again today. Still awaiting the Selena Harris Miranda score, but that second fall on Bean for Florida could end up being huge here as we await the final scores and a strong finish on the floor. You mentioned perhaps two of the best passes in the country in Robertson and Frankie Price. They just gave Frankie Price a 9.925. The win over LSU was Arkansas's highest ranked victory since beating, at the time, #1 Florida in 2011. Kind of full circle coming back here as the final scores do come in, and Arkansas wins the meet.
So nice to see. I know that they're going to feel so good after this competition. They built, starting on vault throughout the rest of the meet. Get that win. They deserved it.
In comeback fashion, their first win versus Florida since that win over, at the time, #1 ranked Florida in 2011. So Arkansas, next going up against the #2 team in the country this year. Apparently that's their thing here at Bud Walton Arena. They knocked off LSU a couple of weeks ago. They do it again here against Florida today. A big finish on the floor. Their best event comes through at home in front of 7,000 plus. What a night.
It's such a big confidence booster for Arkansas. They needed this competition. So exciting to see them really find that groove and hopefully build off of this meet.
Well, Kennedy, we knew we were going to have a fun meet. They're going to swag surf to the finish line here. Arkansas takes the meet over #2 Florida in come from behind upset fashion today. On the other side of the break, we'll send you to Oklahoma for our next meet coming up on SEC Network. For our entire crew, Kennedy Baker, I'm Jason Raj Jr. saying so long from Fayetteville.